Hello, hello everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. So continuing on our journey, today we would be uh yeah. So today we would be learning about Swift data. So basically first we'll try to understand what data is and we'll so basically data is one of the important what to say features, right? So then um so basically first thing that we need is data is something that is inherent, right? That means wait, let me check this. So basically data is something that is going to be important, right? So when we say, for example, suppose this is a Netflix, right? Again, the movies and everything that is all got to you by internet, right? So hence data is basically something that is going to be a very important part of our application. Now why do we need data, right? So basically that is the whole thing. Now either we so there are two ways of getting data. Either you get through internet, right? And then so this data will remain until the internet access is enabled. So until you have internet access you will be having this data. The moment you lose internet, this data also will be lost, right? So this is nothing but getting data from an API, right? So all your apps, for example Netflix or some other apps have the are inherently built on this thing, right? Then the second thing that comes is local storage, right? So basically when we say local storages, so if this is our mobile, right? So every mobile will have some sort of drive, right? So basically this is not the RAM, this is the external HDD or HDD. Now for example the DCIM part, like for example our camera roll, it gets stored in DCIM, right? So that is nothing but something that is external memory, right? When we say external, that is something that is not directly on the CPU. So this is something which may be storing it in our local storage, right? So then this is nothing but our local storage data. So broadly, now you can further say that this data would be lost and this data would never be lost, right? So broadly we can categorize data into two types. One is persistent and then is other one is non-persistent data, right? Okay, now we are so basically now why are we learning this? So basically our goal is to have this architecture, right? So this is nothing but called as model view model. So while storing both the persistent and non-persistent data, we will make sure that we are going to follow this approach, right? So what does the approach state? So approach is basically first is we define the model. Now why do we need the model? So basically Swift is a type safe language, right? So basically we need to make sure that we are uh, having the data of a specific type. So we are going to define the model, basically and this is going to be an out like a blueprint of how our data is going to look. Then is basically the second thing that we defined is the tools that we need. We'll see this in a little bit detail. Then is basically we define the context, like for example uh, with which view so are we or with which UI screen are we referring that data to. The next is based on the data we received, we need to update the view, right? So basically in all we have four steps. Now see the model, so let's break down in a bit detail, right? This is the first step. This refers to the representation, right? Now then the whole question arises is why do we need a model? So Swift is a type safe language. Making a model ensures that we are not breaking type references of the language and our data follows a specific type. This is the most important part, right? Now types of model. So based on so now recently Swift UI can also supports OOP, right? Like you can have classes as well. So now you can define model in two types. Either it could be a class based model, either it be and it could, or either it could be a struct based model. Now the only difference is, remember, when you are using structs, right, or value based models, right, these are going to be lighter because these are not stored in the heap. This is going to be the reference is going to be maintained until we go and perform the garbage collection. Now, one more often used terminology is data objects. Now, when we, so for example, even if you have a class or a struct, right, when you actually instantiate the struct, or when you actually create the object, allocate it to memory, allocate it or instantiate it, then the memory is allocated, right? So then we say that this is nothing but our data object, right? Now, creating actual objects of the type is called as data objects. Now, again, as we said, so the second step was tools, right? So when we said tools, remember we categorized our data into two types. One is persistent, another is non-persistent, right? So persistent storage, basically, this is something that is going to be on our external storage. By external, we mean not externally connected, even on your local C drive, right? So that is nothing but an external, that is not on chip. Then you have non-persistent storage. So basically, this is available at runtime. That basically comes on the RAM and then goes out. So now this is nothing but our how our model container is going to look. Now then is context, right? Context is like what operations are we going to perform when with which view or with which type of data is going to do that, or like with which view are we associating it. So for the fourth and the last step is again updating the view, right? So basically based on the data you received, you want to update, you want something that has to be updated over here, right? The persistent storage, there are two ways. Now we are going to get core uh in what we say as Swift data, right? Now there are two ways. One is you have core data. This is a legacy tool. Then you have Swift data. So this came in iOS 17 plus. So right now we are using some iOS Sequoia, I guess, which is 16 or something. So we'll be learning the most latest technology over here. Basically, now these are basically what do you say, modules, right, or something which are going to help us to. So if you see the iOS I so the I the what do you say, not iOS, when you see the Apple operating system, right? So there is a field for certain field which is core functions. So in that, one of the core functions is basically core data. Then you might be having core locations. So remember, these are all legacy tools that were built previously. Now we'll be having a more advanced, or since we are moving towards Swift, right? The reason why doing we are doing this because we want something like something which the developer can easily use, right? Instead of understanding the native code, right? We want development to happen easily. So hence you are going to use something called as hence you are using Swift data, right? The other one is core data as well. So this is the legacy tool. We'll be saving both in parallel, and what is the difference between them? That is not a concern. Now we are talking specifically about Swift data. So Swift data is basically an advanced way of managing data. Now, now when we talk about specifically with respect to the Swift data, right? So the first thing is defining our model, right? So to define our model, what we'll be using is basically this at the rate. So remember, this is a annotation, right? We will be using this. So this already has some pre-existing meaning. We would be just using this. Now, why this is different from normal struct is because we are now into persistent storage. Remember that struct and everything; those are all non-persistent, right? That means they are removed after the runtime of the app is closed. But we don't want that to happen. Instead, we want our data to be there, right? Okay, so yeah, so what we can do is let's let's open a okay, let's get the emulator somewhere out because I know this is going to take a lot of space. Okay, so let's have the emulator here only. Let's go to Xcode, open a new, create a new. First of all, let's create a new folder or something so that we can, so as we have animations, we can have something like save data probably. Let's just, what happened? Syncing from cloud something. Okay, so let's just rename this as Swift. Okay, let's go and have our Xcode project initialized. So you do Xcode. Then we can open it via VS, right? We need that setup to be there. Okay, let's close this. Let's open Xcode. So now, what are we going to do is create a new project, and let's say app. Let's say this is Swift data. The only thing that we need to change is the location, right? So we already have triggers. Oh no, we do need to put a desktop, and I have Swift data. Let's create. Okay, let's give it some time to open. Okay, so I have initialized. Now let's go back to our the okay, let's open this thing. Let's open the guy. Let's close this thing. Oh, that might be say version or something. Yeah, we want to use this thing. And then let's say open folder. Let's go to desktop. Yeah, let's have desktop. Let's open this. So now we can go to content. Oh wait. There's something, it's lagging a lot. I don't know. Okay, so what we can do is let's go to suite pair. Yeah, I have this thing. Let's just run the emulator. Give it some time. It's something. Oh wait, this one is our. Let's close Android Studio because it is going to take a lot of what do you say, space. And then let's. Oh, we have one more simulator open. I need anyone. What happened? Where did it disappear? Was it behind anything? Let's force quit it. Let's open. Oh yeah, it will be terminated then. We can give this thing as. Wait, this is why I'm capturing both. Let's have this thing. Let's wait. Yeah, the app is coming up now. So yeah, the initial repo has been initialized now. And then so now what we are going to do is, so we are going to see an example or where like where we are actually right having this emulator of some data. Okay, so now okay, there is some key that is getting pressed. So now what we need to do is, okay, so first is we are going to, is there something which is, it's better we close this and open it again. Let's force quit it. Open a new version of, just close this thing. I'm not double clicking it. Why is it happening this way? Something is, or it's, is that happening in Xcode as well? I don't use much Xcode though. It's open already. Yeah, some data. Yeah, that is something related to visual code, so it's okay. We'll go here. So now let's create a non-persistent model. So it will be like, so we are using class based, right? So it will be class, and then you kind of initialize the parameters, right? So you say this is, and then you have a string, then you have, so basically I'm going to and then so then say let's have an age as well. Now we need to uh, and then let's have a init probably. So this is again, and then what we are going to do is we are going to have a field, right? So let's have a v stack. Inside that v stack we are going to have a found. So it started to lag here as well. We're going to have a text editor field, right? So let's say, so I have, wait, single line text field, right? So you do text field, and then so I have enter name, and then I'm going to bind it probably to something, right? uh so I have a, wait, no. Yeah, a text field, you have a title key, basically a localized string, and then you have a text. So let's do this one, right? And let's say the string is going to be, first is I'm going to say you have to enter a name, and then we need to do binding, right? So the struct is this, right? So let's declare private properties. First is state, and then we have, yeah, you can initialize it to 0, so not an issue. And then so right now access and all is not we are concerned. We are just going to bind this string. Let's bind this to name, and then I have another text field, uh, text, and then going to have a string which is saying age. Just going to bind this text to say dollar. I cannot convert type of value in. Okay, whenever you're using an intent, right? So just do, it kind of expects the string binding, so just do something, some typecasting here, probably say the format, and then you make sure that I'm doing that number. So I have age. Wait. Uh, cannot convert expected string extra argument in format because that takes a string bind. I do a text field and then you have string binding. Oh wait, there is. Do we have some? Yeah, you have format input format. Uh, this one is what we need. So yeah, it's should be correct, right? I don't know why it's giving me. It went out. We'll see what when we probably this is going to go out when we, and then what we have is we have a button, right? So you do a button, which have a button, so it's going to be an action label, right? So you go action is nothing. Let's first fill in the label. So label is we are going to have in okay when we are going to click on that label, right? So let's have a text and that is going to be label and action. So what is the action? So when we uh click on that, we are going to call this constructor. So we're going to say just create a new person and then so now here is the name and string. Why is the preview pause? So I have age. Oh, this should be value. This should not be because now it's value, right? And then initialization of uh new person was never used. We'll see that later on what happens. So yeah, um, why is this zooming automatically? So if I build this, I have 2 to 3 emulators open. But let's close. I don't need so many emulators. Something which is it shouldn't lag this much though. I haven't added any styling or something. Now why uh the reason why it's just showing me this thing is uh there is no so the value is not coming in here, right? I mean we have the model defined but there is no value coming in. You see I'm just passing these things, right? So it should be yeah you can type in here. Wait. If I wait. This won't probably help me. So if I even if I call this right, this is just creating an instance. Nothing worthwhile is happening here. So hence we need to do something here. So then what we need to do is instead just have this add a macro over here. So this is at the rate. We say this is uh oh, then we need to add some other file as well. Okay, let's import. We say import. Yeah, now this has become a macro. See, not expansion. Okay, let's get back over here. Now we'll see. Now this is an error. We'll see what the error is. So basically, what we have done is we have now made this as. So if I go and right click. Yeah, if I go to jump to definition. So then it's going to take me. This understands. Okay. Now, Swift macros allow developers to save time when coding. So macro is basically already some code have been written. We are just making use of it. So this is good. Now then, so basically first now we saw the model, right? The model will be at the rate thing. Now then the second thing is now Swift data knows the data will look like. Now we need the tools to read that data, right? So as I said, two tools, persistent and non-persistent. So what is the tool? The tool is the tool is when we actually give the data to it, right? The data objects is nothing but what is going to be the tool. The managing data object. Now once Swift data understand the data model where the data is stored, it can retrieve and give objects to your app. At this end of this section, we will understand about. So we'll understand about what. Right now there is no data coming in still. So now then the Swift uses something called as model context to store data. Okay. Then last is updating the view, right? So we saw that. So let's see the okay. So we got the now there is a we need to follow that MBM architecture, right? So the you come here and then you do on a new empty file. Oh wait, don't do on a new empty file. What we can do is there is an option where you say something like template, file from template. Yeah. So then let's have this and let's name this. So then this is has to be my model, right? So I'm going to do this is my person model dot sif. Don't add dot sif. That is going to come now. Wait. Wait. There shouldn't be any extension here. This shouldn't come on its own. So if you create this, you have an extension dot at the end of the name. The standard extension is Swift. Use Swift. So I have this thing and just move this. Get rid of this model from here. Let's have this macro closed right now. We don't know this. It's alright. And then we don't need this either. Oh, I guess the class also went, right? Oh, we deleted the content here as well. Wait. And now let's go into our why am I not able to switch tabs? So I have this file keep so this is the I'm inside, right? And then now here is where I'm going to do have my import Swift. Why did I have two successive? I just need one single file, right? So now I'm going to add in. So I don't need Swift data. And then here is I'm going to add my model, right? Okay. Now, uh, so what now cannot expand accessor. Let's just give like some default values here. Okay. Now, since your data is as own framework, we'll have to import it so that I got that at the rate model, and then do I always add in it? Can I just provide default values? You will always need an init when you use other model because it requires it. Even if you provide note, you can provide default values. Now, tell that Swift data to use this class to create persistent storage with these properties. Can I use a struct instant? No, you cannot. Just like you cannot use a struct to create an observable object. This is because at the rate model also makes your class observable. So your model is fully. So we cannot use struct. Remember, uh, try to. There is something. Oh, I missed the type probably. So this is. Oh wait, I understood the other day. So this should be string, and then yeah, an empty string. This should be int, and then it should be zero. Yeah. Okay. Now, can I expand accessor macro? So we can't. There is some error which is giving you. Let's see that error. So this is how our model is going to look. Now the thing is, let is going to be that scoping thing, right? Let is going to act like a constant. So once declared, and so what is happening with? Okay, let me explain. If I go, let's see, let's have this thing. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to restart and resume. It's lagging a lot.